I believe I am live. So, hello, everybody. I wanted to welcome you again to the weekly Tuesday Talks with Wendy. I'm Wendy, your holistic nutritionist, and I am excited. I'm so excited today because I don't know if you saw my post earlier, you may have realized that I got 100 likes on our private Facebook group there this morning, and I'm just over the moon excited about it. It's just, um, I just can't say enough. It's such a wonderful feeling to know that, I'm not doing this for nothing, and I'm really happy about how everybody's receiving this. And um, just so you know, I have got lots of plans coming up in the next little while. I'm going to be offering a really cool program just for people that actually want it. It's not for everybody. And it's going to be totally through the Facebook, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm so excited. It's going to be great. Like I said, I can't, I'm just excited anyways. So welcome. Today we are talking about affordable, healthy foods to keep in your kitchen at all times. Okay, so this is my deal. I'm a little bit annoyed. I am, and I am not pulling any punches today. I am laying it out like I see it. Okay. So I'm going to check here and see if things are working okay here before I really get into it, because I might get a little sidetracked. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a little annoyed, and I'm done being a nice guy. I'm always the nice guy. But anyways, I have I have a bit of a problem with the way people are always giving me the excuse of, oh, it's too expensive to eat healthy. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, healthy food is too expensive. It's not worth it. Oh, all these different excuses. It really just gnaws at me quite a bit, because it's not that expensive in the long run. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, what is your health worth? Okay, answer that for me. What is your health worth? What is it that is comparable to healthiness? I mean, a lifelong, being able to, do the things that you want to do, to be able to live into our 60s, our 70s, our 80s, and still have that vitality, that lifelong joie de vivre, that being able to get out of bed and be energized, and not worry about our joints, you're not worrying about so much about cardiovascular disease, not worrying about diabetes. What is that worth to you? I just don't get it. I really, really don't. I mean, I've had lots of my clients come to me, and they say, oh, I just can't afford it. I can't, it's too expensive. It's $6 for a green pepper. I get it. Okay, I really do. I really get it. I mean, I was even listening to the radio yesterday, and the guys on the radio in the afternoon, bless their hearts, they were talking about healthy eating. And one guy's wife was, he's saying, oh, so I'm so happy she's, healthy, eating healthy and on this kick and everything else, and she's trying to get me into it and everything else. That's great. And then he started complaining about the price of quinoa and how he's going to have to mortgage his house and everything else. I mean, that's a bit exaggerated, really. Come on. Okay, first of all, he was mentioning something about PC points, and I'll tell you right now, yeah, independent is extremely expensive. Don't shop there if it's too expensive for you. That goes without saying. Loblaws, we don't have a big Loblaws here in Sudbury area, but if we go to Toronto or Barrie, they have the great big Loblaw stores. They're amazing. I love grocery stores. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to that, but I mean, I love grocery stores, and those grocery stores are like designer grocery stores. But the food is so expensive. It's a treat to go in there and to buy something nice. The real superstore, the superstore out in New Sudbury that we have, Yeah, I love going in there. I could wander around there for hours. I mean, that's the kind of geek I am, I guess, when it comes to food, but it's expensive. Like, really, you have to really budget yourself to get the kind of foods that you want. And you possibly could be looking at $3, $4 for a green pepper, or I remember, is it last summer that cauliflower was up to $6 for a head of cauliflower, little ones, not even big ones. Yeah, you really have to budget it, and you have to, work hard at it. It's not easy, but what are you paying for a case of beer? What are you paying for a tank of gas these days? What are you paying for a case of pop? Like, stuff that really, okay, yeah, um, you need a tank of gas. Possibly you need beer. It's a nice treat. But, you know, sometimes a case of pop is not necessary. When you can get, splurge on a Brita filter and get some filtrated water and get it right out of the tap. You don't need bottles, besides the fact that it pollutes our earth. And just don't get me started on the bottled water stuff. Get yourself a little bottle, filter it yourself, and get it out of the tap. It's not that expensive. Okay, I'm on a rant now, so you guys are going to have to either put up with it or turn me off. It's up to you. If you want to go through this whole, talk today with me, fine. I'm a little fired up, but it has to be said, and I'm tired of hearing about it. I was a single mother for many years where there was two vegetarians. No, sorry, there was one vegetarian, a vegan, and a person that didn't know what they were eating at the time. He was only little. Anyways, we survived. You get used to, okay, maybe a vegetarian, vegans, yeah, you need a lot of vegetables and things like that. But sometimes if you don't have the money to be able to afford fresh vegetables, you get frozen ones. Sometimes you eat a little bit more pasta than you want to. Okay, I'm just saying, I was there. I was a single mom. I had no money, just enough to cover rent and bills. And, then you make do after that. It can be done. It can be done. And you can survive, and you can be healthy as well. So, okay, I've got a kind of a script here that I wanted to make sure that I stay on course, because it does fire me up, this whole subject. And like I said, I'm not holding any punches anymore. And if anybody comes into my office or talks to me online in our meetings and tells me it's too expensive, I've got an argument for you. Okay, so when we go into grocery stores, you're going to come out of there sometimes with a $300 bill and walking away with only 2 or 3 bags of groceries. Yeah, you got to really pick and choose the right foods that you want, and pick and choose the grocery stores that you are really going into. Like I said already, independent grocers, love them. Loblaws, it's the whole brand. So expensive. It is a treat. It is a treat for me to actually go into that store and get a few of their products, because my goodness, it's expensive. It is expensive. So you really got to watch. You don't have to shop there. There are options. Okay, guys, there's many options. And when you're looking at healthy foods, you don't have to go down the health food aisle of the store, because that again is going to be the lot more expensive things. You don't have to buy little wee portions of packages of whatever. You can buy bulk, and that's another thing that I'm going to get into in a second. You don't have to mortgage your house. That's all I'm saying. To grocery, really budget, prepare, buy things that you need, and allow for things to not get wasted as well. So that's another big thing, is food waste. And that's a whole nother video that I'm not even going to get into today. But it's food waste is another big thing. Let's see here. You get flyers. A lot of us have opted out and not having the paper flyers anymore, but there's apps on your phone that you can get. I believe one is called Flip, F-L-I-P-P, and you can get that app on your phone, and it actually gives you all the flyers for your given area. And you go through them and you see what is the most cheapest place or who has the best variety of things on sale. So you go there. Um, but once you get there, you got to understand, because I mean, places like Independent and Loblaws, they will have some really great sales, but that's to draw you into the store, because then you end up buying all the rest of your grocery list there as well. So be prepared to follow a list and just get the foods that you need from that specific store that are on sale. If you have time, going to the other stores to get in your staples that are obviously going to be a lot more expensive at a place like Independent or Loblaws. And I'm not putting Loblaws or Independent down by any means. They're wonderful stores. They are just the higher end stores. I tend to shop at Food Basics. Lord love us, if we had a No Frills in Sudbury, I would go there 100% of the time, because this is one of my favorite stores, and I get that from my mother, because I remember back in the day we had a No Frills in Sudbury, and we would go there all the time. No Frills. I mean, just the name. It is a Loblaws brand, mind you, but just the name itself, it's not pretty. It's stacked up high. You're not going to get all those bells and whistles that you will from a big Loblaws store, for obvious reasons. And then the prices are cut a lot. So the food is the same. The food is the same, people. It's just not presented in a fancy way. And these are options that you can go for too. I mean, it's not something that is not available for you. So Basics within Sudbury is the option that I go to. They have wonderful produce, because again, I have 2 vegetarians and 1 meat eater in my household. We also, and I say this very sheepishly, we also go to Walmart. I do not promote Walmart, but we do go there for food, just because our time sometimes that tends to be a little limited. And then, the odd time we'll get other things while we're there as well. The produce is pretty good. My husband, who's the meat eater, doesn't buy the meat there. We had an issue with that at one time. Again, I'm not dissing Walmart. Walmart is there for a purpose, and we just, don't buy the meat there. We actually prefer the meat from, he prefers the meat from Food Basics. So, but at the same time, stuff like brown rice is so economical and so good for you. For people that are not eating carbs, and so you're not going to be buying bread, you're not going to be buying rice, you're not going to be buying all these different things, going straight for the produce and the meats and different things like that. So a lot of people that are on different diets obviously are going to go to different ends of the grocery store. But again, picking wisely and picking things are on sale. If you feel like having, and I can't even think of something right now, something very specific that you like. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything. But the price is so crazy high right now. Well, you maybe just not have it. Buy in season. What fruits and vegetables are in season right now? Spinach is in season. Beets are in season. All our nice leafy greens are in season. Strawberries, blueberries are coming out all in season. These are all really, really wonderful, and they're in season right now. So grab them while they're cheap. Grab them. Even if you have to do some prep, grab a pile of them, bring them home, prep them, and freeze them. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's as simple as that. And it's so much easier. So perhaps in the grain section, so we talked about brown rice a little bit. You don't have to have quinoa to be healthy. That's not a necessity. You don't have to go into all these wild and crazy grains, amaranth and millet and all these different things, because you're going to look at a little bit more pricey, especially if you're in a bigger grocery store. Brown rice sustains. If you can't afford brown rice, which I don't think is more expensive than white rice, then go for white rice. It is what it is. It's not unhealthy, but you do what you can in a pinch. It's still better than processed. You can buy actually those little containers of processed, ready to microwave dinners or whatever. that have rice and stuff in them, or those packages of rice and sauces. The processed foods, the chemicals, the flavorings, the everything else that's in there, it's just, it's not cool, it's not good. You can do that on your own with just regular foods. Your brown rice, your rice, if you want to go in towards more of a delicacy, or not a delicacy, but if you want to go in towards more of a, um, something special like a quinoa or couscous or stuff like that, look for sales. That's all I'm saying. If your fruits and vegetables, if the ones that you're looking for are not in peak freshness at this point, so and they're not going to be on sale, get them frozen. Frozen is just as good. There's nothing wrong with it. I wouldn't leave it frozen for a long time in your freezer. You want to, eat it within a good period of time, within a couple of weeks. But they're just as good. And when they pick these fruits and vegetables, they're at their peak of freshness. They're at their most ripeness. And then they flash freeze them. And sometimes, not sometimes, but for the majority of times, they're almost going to be better for you, because especially living up here in Northern Ontario, fruits and vegetables are actually coming a long way. So when they pick the fruits and vegetables, they're picking them underripe, and they actually ripen on the way to us. So they're not being able to stay on the vine or in the ground or wherever they are up until their most beneficial point, and then being given to us, because they would not last until they get to us. So fruits and vegetables that are picked at their freshest and flash frozen right then and there, they have the most nutrient dense, most highest energy in them at that time, as opposed to the ones that are being picked underripe and not given the opportunity to come to their full potential. So, again, eating what's in season and eating local. So that 150-mile radius. So the farmers market is a wonderful place this time of year. I remember as a child, we would travel through Southern Ontario, and it was just like a bountiful harvest of amazing, amazing things that you can get at any fruit market anywhere in Southern Ontario. There's a lot in Northern Ontario here too, but not as much. And I remember my mother bringing home baskets of peaches and baskets of things that we would gather as, traveling home from visiting relatives or things like that. And then her furiously, because everything would be super ripe and just ready to turn, furiously canning and preserving and, keeping the best of it without having to throw it out. And, having that amazing opportunity to have such freshness and wholeness. And we would have peaches all through winter, just because she would buy a big basket of peaches that were just on the verge of going bad for a couple dollars, and then working hard, for an afternoon or a day, canning them all and then having them for the rest of the season and then some. So, doing things like this as well, connecting with your local gardeners and connecting with your local farmers and helping out. And, you can also, for people that are really, really tight about having fresh fruits and vegetables, I know my daughter in Toronto is part of an organization where they go around, and I think we have this in Sudbury as well, they go around from they have little areas in their city, pockets of areas where they have a lot of these fruit trees. And often you see the fruit ends up just, rotting on the trees themselves. So they have a group of people that, asking the homeowners or the property owners, is it okay if we pick the fruit? And then they pick the fruit and they distribute it among the group, or they bring it to the homeless shelter, or they do different things like that, that really, so food isn't wasted. And that's a big problem within a lot of the bigger cities, unfortunately. But that, again, is another topic onto its own. Yeah, so I got right off topic. I was talking about brown rice. So yeah, looking towards your carbs and again, you know, doing the best you can. Again, I talked about frozen vegetables. That's another big thing that's really, really good. So you can buy those and have them aside, and just making sure that they don't get all crystallized in the freezer, but using them up within time. And you can buy those on sale. I always, always, always buy my berries in the bags now. So you have those that used to be European Fresh or something like that. It used to be the brand, but now I buy like the store brand fruits in bags. And I always have about 6 different kinds of bags, but I buy them when they're cheap. I buy them when they're on sale. So I get them at about $2.99 or $3.99, and they last such a long time. So I always have a variety of different kinds of fruits and vegetables in my home in the freezer ready to go at any time, mostly fruits because I eat a lot of that as my treats. Um, Stuff like old-fashioned oats. I mean, goodness, if you buy a box of ready those packaged oatmeal, instant oatmeal, stuff like that, they have sugar, they have coloring, they have flavoring, and everything else. Get some old-fashioned oats. You can get a great big bag for just pennies. It's amazing, and it'll last you for a long time. Oatmeal is one of the better things that you can have for your start your day in the morning, and you can add some of the frozen berries. You can add your own cinnamon. You can add your own spices. You can put in like pumpkin spice or apple pie spice or anything like that. You can add dried fruits if you want. And then, of course, when you're adding, you can also add your little bit of sugar. You can add a little bit of maple syrup or even just regular sugar if that's where you're going. And at least you control the amount of sugar that you're putting in too, especially for children. You want to have some sort of control over the amount. Um, Fresh baked leafy greens. I think I touched a little bit on that too. Um, there tends to be, um, it's very expensive as well. And you notice over the last little while, there's outbreaks of E. coli and different things running around in romaine lettuce. Um, Sometimes it's better to buy it bagged already. But if you're trying to save money, a 3 bag of those romaine hearts, $5.99, that's pretty expensive. And you're not getting like a full head of romaine either. So looking towards a full head of romaine is about maybe $2. And you wash it. You wash the heck out of it if you're worried about any kind of contamination or anything like that. Many of us don't wash, and then we end up with all these problems as well. So another reason to really watch what you're eating is just making sure you're washing everything very properly. Um, yeah, and I find too is that romaine spinach. I buy a lot of spinach, and I buy a lot of kale, and I'll buy it in the bulk as well. And then I'll take it home and I'll freeze a lot of it because it does tend to go bad really quickly, especially in those great big plastic tins. Again, those not tins, those plastic containers. Again, that's a very expensive way to buy it. If you buy it in bulk, if you buy it in the bags, you can take it, you can wash it and freeze it, and it stays forever. And you can throw it in soups, you can throw it in egg dishes, you can throw it into your smoothies, you can throw it into so many different things. And your rice dishes, whatever. I throw it in pretty much everything. My family gets a little annoyed with me because they're like, Mom, is there kale in this again? Come on. They get, like, I just think it doesn't taste anything. It just looks, you got like this little green specks of everything. But my family's just like, really, Mom? Anyways, yeah, I put it in everything. But, chopping up a salad, having it ready to go, it's always a nice option to have. And then, it doesn't go bad as fast. So again, fruits all the time, very expensive buying it frozen. If you're buying really cheap this time of year, and like me, I got a whole pile of rhubarb from some neighbors of my mother's. I chopped it all up right away and froze it. Blueberries are coming in season very shortly, and I'm looking forward to it because we've had lots of rain. I think the blueberries are going to be amazing this time of year, this year. Going out and picking them on your own, like you can do that. You can do that. Freezing them, um, even just buying a big bag of oranges. It might cost you $5. It'll last you all week. These are really good things to have around for you all the time. Um, any kind of apples, oranges, pears, pineapples. I mean, apples in the fall, um, they come into being ripe at that, they're in season at that point. Buy the bushels of them and do something with them. Can them if you want. Very, very inexpensive doing these different things. It's one of the other tips that I really like to say to people that come in and say, go to the bulk barn. And I think I may have mentioned that with regards to the grains and different things. I mean, you can get all your flours. Like if you're looking towards doing more of a keto type diet, or you're looking to lessen the carbs, you can go and get almond flours. You can get all your nuts and seeds. Um, you can get all different kinds of pastas. You can get gluten-free pastas. You can get your almond butter. You can get your peanut butter with no salt or sugar. You can get tahini. Tahini is one of the things that I use a lot of because I make my own hummus. That's another thing. Just making your own hummus is a nice, wonderful thing. But I use tahini, and I buy a little container of it at the bulk store, and I keep it in my fridge, and it stays there forever. It's amazing. Almond butter tends to be quite expensive in the grocery store. Again, buy it at the bulk store. Save your little jars from previous things and go in and buy it at the bulk store instead of using their plastic containers. These are all options for you. What else? You can get all kinds of treats if you want. They're a lot cheaper there as well. I'm kind of hoping you stay away from that area. But I mean, you can get a small amount of treats as opposed to getting large amounts and, just having a once in a while treat. Meat and fish tend to be the most expensive things on our shopping list. And, plant proteins often cost a lot less. Now, that being said, these new analog meats, these new Beyond Meat burgers and Beyond Meat sausage and all these different things, fake bacon, Life Light is another brand, Garden, all these different brands, they have a lot of analog meats is what they're called basically. And they can be expensive. They can be very expensive. They're not necessary. If you're trying to eat a lot less and more of a plant-based diet, and you've given me the excuse that it's too expensive, well, you don't have to eat that, okay? Meat and fish, like I said, are very expensive, and they're most expensive things on your shopping list. If you want to cut your shopping list down a little bit, get really, really good quality meats, lean meats, but get less of them. And supplement a little bit with beans, peas, lentils, all these different things that are very, very cheap, but very, very high in plant protein, and they're very nutritious. I mean, beans and peas, and lentils alone, you can buy them in bags for like 99 cents. And with a little bit of work, you have to soak them the night before and cook them up, or even in just cans the day of. So cheap. I can't even express how cheap they are. And, even when you get them on sale, you can get them a can of beans for like 50 cents sometimes. It's just super, super cheap. So no excuse. Let's see. The other thing I just wanted to mention, some of the best foods in the world, some of the best delicacies and most nutritious foods out there are some of the very simplest foods out there. You get yourself, or even if you're ambitious, you can make yourself a very simple pasta just with flour and egg and water, some beautiful tomatoes, some fresh basil, a couple of leaves of basil, and some olive oil, and you've got one of the most beautiful dishes. I've always had an affinity for Italian food because the most simplest dishes that they make are just amazingly, amazingly good and cheap. I mean, pasta used to be considered, from what I understand, pasta used to be considered peasants' food. It's cheap food. This day and age, we tend to overcarb on our pastas, and so looking towards maybe a whole grain pasta, or not having so much pasta, but having a really good, beautiful, simple sauce that goes with it. Amazing. I mean, I can't even express. Garlic and olive oil. That's one of the most basic pasta dishes with, it's, anyways, simple foods are sometimes some of the best. I mean, I'm not saying don't eat meat, but meat is going to be one of the more expensive ones. I'm not saying don't buy your analog meats, but they are going to be more expensive. I mean, take a little bit of time, research some recipes. You can make really nice burgers if this is something that you're looking for, without spending $7.99 or whatever it is for 2 patties. You can make a whole pile of vegetarian patties with brown rice, beans, lentils, some vegetables. There's lots and lots of recipes out there. It's very easily done. But ultimately, it boils down to what is, and I think I mentioned this in the beginning, what is your health worth? What is it? What is it worth? What is it worth to you to stay healthy? Okay. If you want to argue with me, please, I'm open for a discussion. Not so much argument, but discussion, because I love discussion. I love discussion about this kind of stuff. And I will help you find a way to eat cheap and healthy at the same time. This is kind of what I do, guys. You can access me. You can see, I'm extremely passionate about this stuff, and I need you guys to understand that if there's a desire, but there's a roadblock, it's your roadblock, and I can help you get past that if you want, but you have to want to. You're using this as an excuse, and it's bullshit. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but it's bullshit, and there's no need for it. It's simple and plain, an excuse. Okay, it can be done. It can be done. You just have to find a way. You have to make a plan. You have to find a way and execute it and go for it. So enough of the excuses. If you want to talk about more with me, please connect, and I will get. We'll talk about it more, and I'll give you some tips, and I'll give you more of, ideas of how to eat healthy, and we can set up a plan. We can do all this. This is what I'm here for. So please have a wonderful day. Excuse my attire today. I'm on the way out to work in the garden, so this is my garden look. I'm not looking pretty for you guys today because I'm going out in the garden, and yeah. So, and I'm getting ready for Canada Day. See, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Anyways, have a wonderful day. The sun is shining as far as I can see, at least in my backyard, and I will be spending the rest of the day out there. But please connect. I want to see, I want to talk to you. I want to know what your thoughts are on this topic, because it is a topic that comes up all the time. And like I said, I'm tired of it. I really am. And this is my mean face. As mean as I get. But anyways, have a wonderful day. Connect with me, and I will see you soon. Oh, join the Transform Your Health with Wendy Facebook group. We're 100 strong now, and I got some really cool things coming up in July sometime, middle of July, a new course, and I'm going to be offering it to everybody that's in my Transform Your Health with Wendy group for a really, 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 really great price. It's like a 3-month course that we're going to be doing online, and it's just going to be for you guys that really want it. And it really has not too much to do with food, if that's a little bit of a hint. And it has to do all with, being the best that you can be. So come over and join our group and, get ramped up. We're still doing all kinds of recipes over in our group, and it's only the 18th today, so we still got a week and a half or so of recipes left, and it's so many, so many. Anyways, love you, take care, and we will talk soon.